Welcome to the Voices of an Author. I am Verlisa Waring, your host for today. I am so excited to bring to you the voices of an author. What is a voice of an author, you may be asking? Well, it is an opportunity for you to actually meet the author of books that you're actually reading. So many times we read books, and because of the content within the pages of the books, it causes questions as to who is this actual author? What were they going through? What was their life like when they were growing up? So I find it befitting to actually host a show that we're actually featuring some up and coming, some highly recognized authors of all genres, to introduce them to the world so that you can not only hear their voice, but you can be able to hear a little bit about each one of them. Each week, we will be featuring a new author. And not only will you get a chance to meet with them, you will be able to receive contact information so that you may contact with them. I have the awesome privilege to introduce and to present to some on this evening a very wonderful, dynamic author. She is a teacher, so yes, she's an educator. She just released a new book that she's going to give us some information about. So I present to some and introduce to others author Tracey Carter. Welcome, Ms. Carter. Welcome to Voices of an Author. We are so happy to have you with us this evening.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
As I was telling the audience already, it is so many times that we pick up a book and we begin to read it. And because of the content that is in the book, it sometimes leaves us with questions as to, well, who is this person? What were they going through? What have they been through? Because our style of writing, a lot of times, comes from um, us, the way we grew up, or the atmosphere, the environment that we were in as we were growing up, or when we were literally writing the actual story itself. So, with that, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, sure. First of all, I am a teacher, like you mentioned before. I'm an educator for 25 years. I'm a mother of 4 adult children. I have 4 grandchildren. And yes, I just wrote my first children's book, which I'm super excited about. And in addition to that, I just love adventure.
Awesome. So, you have 4 children, 4 grandchildren.
Yes.
So 4 plus 4 is 8. So guess what? 8, it begins new beginning. So there is a new beginning in your life, because I just heard you say you just wrote your first children's book. How
Yes.
awesome is that? Now let me ask you a question before we go into your actual book. At what age did you discover your voice? At what age did the importance of sharing stories come to life to you?
I, well, I think right around the age of 25, it really hit me. Growing up, my grandmothers and my great grandmothers, they told stories growing up while we were visiting them. And once my children became a little older, around preschool, kindergarten age, I wanted to bring back that same energy that was shared with me by my grandparents. And of course, we would tell stories verbally. And I've always been a lover of books. And I've enjoyed how my children would read books and be engaged and always ready to purchase a new book from the bookstore or go to the library. And I thought that was awesome. So growing up, they had an abundance of books. And I just started thinking, well, why not write my own book and have something to leave as a legacy? So at 25, it became a thought. It turned into a dream. And I continued to think about it. I didn't do anything with it. And so here I am today with the publication of my first children's book.
Awesome. Now, one thing that stuck out with me was your children at an early age. They love to go to the store to buy a book to read. It is so important for us, especially the African American culture,
Yes.
for us to dismiss the taboo, the myth of um, put it in a book and they'll never read it.
Mhm.
So it is so awesome to hear that at an early age, your kids were already enthralled into wanting to read books,
Absolutely.
and that you were introduced to storytelling from your grandparents. Thank God for our
Yeah.
grandmothers and mothers, who they left a legacy with us. Of course, they left us with memories, but they left us with something that can be spread to the world, to the nation, and that is
Mhm.
storytelling. What a lot of people don't realize, everyone has a story to tell.
Yes.
Everyone's life is an actual story. It's just up to us to have the courage to share our voices to tell those stories. Which takes me to my next question. What part of your personal story
Mhm.
would you say would help change the trajectory of someone else's life?
Well, there are a lot of different layers. And as I was reflecting on your question, one of the biggest things would be I was a teen mom at the age of 17. And out of some embarrassment, I didn't share my story. I was really ready to hide my story. And as I became older and my family grew, I decided it was time to tell my story of perseverance and restoration and not giving up.
So, when you say perseverance, explain that a little bit. How can you learning that you needed perseverance in your life, how can having perseverance, how can that benefit another woman, a young girl, or even a man today? Because we're living now in a society that there forever so many changes. We're having to adapt to this, and sometimes we lose hope. Sometimes we lose the strength. Sometimes we say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. So,
Hmm.
could you expound a little bit on perseverance?
Well, often I believe we can easily give in to the opinions of others, how we think others view us, the opinions of others. And really what matters is the promises of God, what God has promised us. And I had to be able to put blinders on so that I didn't focus on what others thought, what others were saying. God made a promise to us, and we know that His word can't alter. What He says is true. And because I decided to focus on that, that's what I would encourage other people to do, whether it's a woman or a man. Just focus on what God has promised you. And I think about the story of Esther when she had to go before the king, and she was hesitant. And although she prayed and she fasted, she remembered what God promised her. And because of that promise, she had favor with the king. And so we just believe and trust and stand strong on God's promise. We can persevere. And from there, favor opens up for us in many different directions.
That's awesome. Favor opens up for us in many directions. That is an excellent way of putting that. So, with you having the perseverance, you having grandmothers and mothers that actually introduce you to storytelling, brings us to the point of your first book. Tell us about your new baby that you have birthed.
Wow.
And once you tell us a little bit about the book, can you read an excerpt of your book to us?
Yes, certainly. Well, My children and I have enjoyed going to the beach since they were little. And from that enjoyment, we have extended it down to the youngest grandchild, Paisley. Paisley went on a visit to the beach at a young age. Surprisingly, she has never forgotten that visit. She talks about it constantly, asking to go to the beach. Of course, that's not something we can do every day. So I decided, why not put it in a book? And so the story is about a visit to the beach. And so, yes, I will share that with you. One moment. Okay. And so here's the book here, A Day at the Beach. And speaking on perseverance, what happens is Paisley wakes up. She's excited about her special day of going to the beach. But as she gets to the beach, she faces some challenges, and it connects with perseverance. She's attempting to build a sandcastle, and she's not having much success with it. And I'll just read a bit here. She began trying to make her sandcastle, but as much as she tried, the castle would always collapse. Mimi noticed that Paisley was looking sad. Why do you look sad, Paisley? Aren't you excited about building your sandcastle? Mimi asked. Paisley said, I was excited, but every time I try to build my sandcastle, it collapsed. I don't want to build a sandcastle anymore. I can't do it. Well, let me see what you have going on because I believe that you can do it, Mimi said. Well, I don't think I can. I'm not good at making sandcastles because my castle falls apart every time. So from there, Mimi continues to help Paisley to give her some guidance. And she talks about or encourages Paisley to have what's called a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And I connected that, although I didn't use the word perseverance, I connect that to perseverance because I thought, isn't that just like life? We are faced with obstacles and challenges, but it's up to us. We have a choice to have a fixed mindset of, I can't do it, I give up, I quit, I'm done. Or we can have a growth mindset saying, I'm facing a challenge, it's become a little difficult for me, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. And even if that means you have to find a new solution to solve your problem, a new solution for your breakthrough, it's important to just go through life with a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. And so, in a sense, for children to understand the difference, it's the same as perseverance to just keep pushing through, not give up, but just know that there's more than one solution if one doesn't work.
That is awesome. Now, let me ask you a question. Would you be Mimi in the story?
I am Mimi.
Awesome. Now that is amazing that Paisley has an awesome Mimi that cheers her on. You didn't get upset with her, but you built up her esteem so that she can keep going. And that's what a lot of little girls, little boys need. And a lot of us adults. I heard you say two key words other than perseverance. It was we ought to have a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there are so many adults who are stuck in the fixed mindset because they don't feel that they can change.
Mhm.
They are afraid of change. And we all know that change is difficult sometimes, but it's all about how we see it. Do we see it in a negative way or do we see it in a positive way? So I am so glad to see that even in a children's book, you have written it whereas they are learning the difference between a fixed mindset where it says, I am going nowhere.
Mhm.
It's a negative space, and you're introducing them to an evolving mind where they will always be open to try new things. And when something challenging occurs, they're actually able to look inside the challenge to find that silver lining,
Yeah.
to turn it around into a whole nother, into a whole nother, I don't even know the word, but a whole nother opportunity that's what it
Yes.
is. So that is awesome. So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If you yourself was a book, if you were a book, what would your storyline be?
If I were a book, my storyline would be it's not the end of the world, it's your beginning. It's not the end of the world, it's your beginning. Because what you are experiencing now, you're only going through it. There's something far greater and bigger on the other side. And although you're facing challenges, it's not the end of the world. You are just at your beginning.
That's beautiful. You're just at your beginning. I love that. So now we're coming to the end. I mean, it's been almost 30 minutes already. So tell everyone how they can contact you. How can they purchase your book? Give them some information so they can contact you and connect with you.
Most definitely. You can contact me via Facebook under Tracey Ellis Carter. And you can also purchase the book on Amazon.com, where there is a soft copy available for purchase, as well as an ebook in Kindle form that you can also purchase.
Awesome. Now, not only do we want you to purchase it on Amazon, once you purchase it, we want you to leave a review.
Yes.
We want you to leave a review for Miss Tracey and her book. And Miss Tracey, is there an email that they can contact you to get more information from you about upcoming projects, if you're going to be speaking, or anything else that they'll be able to reach you directly?
Yes, you can also contact me via email at tracy.carter87 at gmail. And that's spelled TRACEY.CARTER87 at gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, we thank you for joining us. You guess what? Guess what, Miss Tracey?
Yes.
You just kicked off the first episode of Voices of the Author.
Wonderful.
Yes. So when you were saying the new beginning, and you had the four children plus the four grandchildren, and
Yeah.
that means that sums up eight. You are the new beginning. So you ushered in the voices of an author. I thank you so much
Awesome.
for joining us on today. We
Thank
look
you.
forward to more greatness in you. We look more forward to more books. We look forward to more opportunities of hearing your voice and to actually read more of your writings. Congratulations on the release of your new book, and thank you for joining us with today.
Thank you so much, Verlisa, for having me. It was an amazing experience. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, this has been our first episode of Voices of an Author. If you are an author and you would like to share your voice with the world, contact us at Verlisa, Verlisa WEARING at the RiseHer Network.com so that we can set up a time to meet with you, to speak with you in regards of your book and your story. We would love to share you to the masses. Again, my name is Verlisa Warren. I am your host for the Voices of an Author. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.